On today's program, Marian Krause and Gabriela Ramirez de la Mora of De la Mora Transformational Experiences find out why these two lovers of life gave birth to a series of remarkable healing experiences known as sound bath therapy, which incorporates ornate gongs and singing bowls for a truly transformative experience. Between their European and Latin American origins, Marian and Gabriela bring a rich, colorful history to their audiences, and with more than 20 years of experiences and appearance on national health and wellness-related TV programs and international corporate settings, not to mention entrepreneurial endeavors, the artistic talents of these two and the years of studies in psychology and metaphysics are simply one of a kind. Clearly, these two go where few have gonged before. Marian and Gabriela, welcome to the show today. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you for having
Greg.
us. Yes.
Absolutely, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you do in the world. It's quite fascinating, and I'm looking forward to sharing all this with readers. But first, this is just a small version of what you guys got going on with your sound therapy, and I will be showing pictures across the screen so people get a sense of just how dynamic and beautiful your gongs are and your wonderful bowls. But anyway, so welcome to the program. You folks inspire people and enterprises in their transformation by revealing the powerful energies of light and sound. And I think that is a bold, beautiful statement and mission. And I first experienced you a couple years ago and got into sound therapy and what you call, from if I'm correct, psychoacoustic sound therapy. And I love that phrase. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and the work that you actually do so people get a sense of what a sound bath experience actually is?
Your psychoacoustic gateway.
Yes, it's a psychoacoustic gateway to heightened states of awareness and consciousness, essentially. And what that means is that we are bringing together elements of psychology, psychotherapy, and life coaching that Gabi can talk much, much more about, and the element of sound therapy, the ancient element of sound therapy, specifically by utilizing gongs, singing bowls, and other sound instruments into the setting, and thereby allowing individuals to literally be taken away, as you have experienced a number of times, to be taken away into deeper realms of their own inner being.
That's
I would refer to
gorgeous.
that, Greg, as a transformational experience. So that would be like the name, no, for a sound meditation, a gong meditation. And it is like through the wings of sound, beginning with the sound of the voice, continuing with the sound of the instruments, no, the gongs and the singing bowls. And it is like in three different moments. So in the first stage, it is like the introduction, no, for people to understand what is that we are going to experience together. Then in the second part is more like going to the unconscious, in which we provide a guided meditation as an opening, because it is always the unconscious what can interfere with your experience or can be an opener. And then the third part, that is the beautiful one, the incredible one, is through the sound, just the sound, to flow with the sound and to reconnect with your own essence.
That's luscious. I like that. So, I've experienced several of them, and I even attended an all-night one, which was quite an experience because I don't know where I went. I mean, I'm somewhere, but it's fascinating. But can you talk a little bit about? So there we are. We come into this wonderful setting, in beautiful settings. Sometimes they're in yoga studios. Sometimes they're in spiritual centers where you host these events. And we lie down on the ground, on the floor, and we experience basically what you were just outlining, those three steps. I find intriguing the scientific evidence or the scientific research about what sound actually does for the body. And I was wondering if you can talk about that, because you talk in the sessions about how it does get into and affect your cells, and I find that very intriguing, and I think people would like to hear more about that.
Well, if you consider that sound and the sense of hearing is the very first ability that we as humans possess, even when we are in utero, we are entrained to the heartbeat of our mothers, to their rhythmic breathing, and so on and so on. So from a very, very, very early, literally conceptual age, we are entrained to the element of rhythm and sound in particular. So sound or hearing I should say, is also the very last ability that goes when we pass on. So it's the beginning and the end, literally, of our journey here on planet Earth with regard to our sensual ability. Sound has the ability to change molecular structure, and that's been scientifically proven, and it is being used on an ongoing basis. So the sound of gongs has been used for close to 4,000 years in various cultures throughout the planet to, again, facilitate transformational experiences within oneself. So gongs have been used for shamanistic, ritualistic, celebratory, ceremonial, transformative, and healing purposes in different parts of the world. And essentially, it has been used to heighten, to sharpen your sense of awareness by allowing yourself to go beyond your analytical thinking mind. So to get into trance-like kind of a state. So when you reach that state, you engage essentially in the process of homeostasis. So you get back to baseline, to your normal state of being. And that's where harmony. And that's where the cellular relaxation, if you want, or clarification or detoxification, resetting occurs. As you've experienced yourself, you release during a gong session on a number of different levels. And that can be psychological, it can be spiritual, it can be emotional, or physiological. So you release a bunch of toxins, a bunch of stale energy.
Yes.
Emotions.
Yes, of course, because generally when you are under a lot of stress or feeling concerned or overwhelmed, what you are generating is cortisol. And the cortisol is just like a constant announcement to all your cells that, guys, there is a problem here. There is like a threat in here going on. So the cells get so confused and they start like not going through their natural course or flow. So instead of that, it's like a contraction, and we start to manifest diseases and a lot of manifestations, symptoms in our body. But then the exact contrary or the exact opposite happen when you feel like so relaxed. Then the feeling that you are trusting in life, everything is fine, and you're generating dopamines and endorphins. So the clear message to all your cells is like, guys, everything is fine. Continue flowing and evolving and expanding.
Yeah.
So you feel and you are really healthy, joyful. That is the reason why we reconnect to our own energy. And for example, Greg, the fact of it is like going with people by the hand and guiding them in this experience. So first of all, the reason why they are just like lying down in the floor is for them to let go, no concern at all. You just let go, relax, lie down comfortably, and then allowing yourself to just flow with the sound is like the perfect state of being. So then your nature is so wise, you don't need to interfere with that. So that is the reason why it's such a healing, not only physical, but emotionally, mentally, it's like a complete experience.
Yes, yes. So it calms down the monkey mind, or the
Yes.
the
Shadow.
wonderful amygdala, which
Yes.
which can at times be quite active. And
Yes.
yes, it's a fascinating process. I'm curious how each of you got involved in that, and then I want to ask you how you actually met each other. Now, I know a part of your journey in sound therapy involved Don. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Conroe, is that correct? Don
That's correct.
Conroe, who actually was a legend. I mean, he was also known as Baba Don or Guru Jagat, and
Yes.
and he was one of the 5 Kundalini yoga teachers designated by Yogi Bhajan.
Bajan.
Yeah, Bhajan in 1969. So I know that each of you were influenced greatly by him, but I'm curious maybe if you can each touch upon how did you get into this? This is fascinating. And I think well needed in this current state that we're in the world.
Well, for me personally, it was an extension of my journey that I began by leaving the corporate world about 19 years ago and becoming a full-time photographer. So I was in the corporate setting for 20 years in a completely unrelated function, and in 1999 left corporate to become a full-time photographer, commercial and fine art photographer. So then about 6 years ago, I came across the gongs for the first time while shooting an assignment for a client of mine. And it was a gentleman by the name of Kenny Coulter who was playing the gong in this open house event. And when I heard the gong for the first time, I was completely blown away, literally blown away by what that was and what that did to me, how I felt when I heard it. With me being also a hand drummer, conga player, and being naturally drawn to rhythm and drums, I have 4 conga drums right here. I was very naturally drawn to the whole element of sound and percussion when I heard the gong. So, long story short, I right away said, I need to get one of these. I bought a gong, started to experiment with it, to play with it, and knew relatively early on that I want to take it on the road because more people have to find out about it. It also correlated with my desire wanting to inspire individuals through my photography initially to see or to experience just the beautiful energy that surrounds all of us as we are walking through life, whether it's through sight or whether it's through sound. Doesn't really matter. Sound is a slower frequency, is a slower vibration than light. But essentially, they are both expressions of just this marvelous, or part of this marvelous energy that is part of life and planet Earth. So I knew relatively early on that I want to share this with more people. I felt, though, that before I do that, I have to make myself a little smarter about it. And that's when I connected with another teacher of mine, Mitch Noor, who is a very well-known and who is a capacity in the whole field of indigenous instruments, of shamanism, and gongs in particular, as well as singing bowls. So I took a class with him. I went also to Nepal with him as part of another class. And then 2, 3 years later, after having been doing this in yoga studios and other settings, over time I also acquired 2 or 3 more gongs, so it has become a little orchestra, if you want. I then found out that Don Conroe was coming close by to Memphis, Tennessee, and I signed up for his workshop. And that's when
And there you are. You entered the room. Is that what happened? Is that where you met?
That is where we met. And well, in my case, a little bit of stories. I started like, as Maya was saying, in my case, I think it's completely similar. It is like continuation of my own journey. a very profound one, wanting to understand life. Because when I started living in, I don't know, I was probably like 24 years old. It was like a very tough situation, kind of cruel. It was just life, but these kind of like tragic situations that one experience sometimes. So that allowed me to want so much to transform that. And how was that going to be possible? So I started just like going deeper and deeper, studying, wanting to understand better and better. So I started studying religions, compared religions, and I did another study, and so all these were like different masters. One was in art, to understand all about manifestation, human manifestation. The other one was to understand how human beings want always to reconnect, not to the divine, and see many options, not all the options that we have like available. And then I started going deeper and studying psychotherapy, and then I continued studying like universal energy, and so on. So at the end, it was this enthusiasm and wanting to get and to go deeper and deeper to understand, but also to share it. So as I was doing all those studies, I was also having these wonderful like windows or connections with people through TV programs. So I was very active on that, talking always about wellness and balance, harmony, how we can do like better decisions, more connected to our core, our own essence. And yes, I continued like that, participating in different like strategies and projects, always wanting to share with people that we are able to transform our lives, and we don't have to live in tragedies. We can reconnect with our own truth, and then to expand and to help others. So that has been always like my deep desire. So then I was on that very, very active when I knew about the gongs. And I was like, this, because I used to live in Mexico City, where it's a lot of stress. It's a very complex city.
Very big.
Oh, yes.
Very big.
Yes. Just thinking in the traffic.
Yes.
So it was like, it sounded like so beautiful, no? Just the idea of a huge element, an instrument that could provide such an experience, and knowing that you don't have to be like a master in meditations or so to be able to enjoy of the experience. So then I went to Memphis, Tennessee to get certified in that, and I met Mariam.
So was it, I find that fascinating that sound brought you both together, or this interest in sound. Was it love at first sight, do you think?
Oh my God.
I know that's kind of a funny question, but actually I don't think it's a funny question.
It's
But
not a funny question at all. No, it was an immediate fascination, I would say.
I would say it was a profound connection.
Yes.
Oh my God.
An immediate fascination with each other and a profound connection,
Wow.
which throughout the week, because it was a 1 week long workshop, it was a Gong Master certification class that we both participated in. And yes, it was a very powerful and transforming week, not just from the Gong side and from the curriculum side, but more on a very personal side. And we did part unexpectedly because the workshop came to an end and you had to go back on the plane to Mexico City and I had to drive back to Chicago. And
we were not able to say goodbye.
When I realized that Gabi was not coming back because the class was about to break off and everybody was supposed to say goodbye and all of that, but she had to leave to the airport earlier. So as I realized that she was not coming back, it was literally like as if somebody had turned off the light switch. It was I will never, ever, ever forget that feeling. So on the way back, I had debated whether I should contact her because I had her WhatsApp information. And after a very brief, deliberate period, I said, absolutely. So I sent her a WhatsApp message just letting her know that it was a pity that we were not able to say goodbye to each other. And then 2 minutes later,
Yes,
she
oh my
responded.
God. When I received that message, it was like the divine concert just continued. It appeared once again. It was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful.
Well,
Yes, that profound connection, I think it opened because we were in that journey. He in his side, me in my experience, and we were through these like loving journey in our lives. And then this encounter was just like going to a next level of understanding about love and life and harmony and passion and togetherness, but real togetherness. So yes.
And
You,
just energy, just to experience the energy that is being created and that is there and that you can tap into.
yes.
You know, you can tap into when you open yourself up and when you are ready.
Yes, and the beautiful thing, Greg, it was not like a teenager kind of, oh, the chemistry or something. No, it was because we both have, well, we are not exactly like 15-year-olds. So we have gone through things and situations in life. So we were like, just, it was like awareness more than being blind because something. It was completely on the contrary. It was like being so aware of the fact that life is so beautiful and it can be as beautiful as you are able to experience it because I like very much. I was listening to Don Miguel Ruiz recently, and he was with these simple words just explaining how we can transform our world or we can transform the world because we are our own like creators of the creators of our own story and we are the main character. So it depends on that, on what you focus on. No? So
Yes.
if you are able to really, really focus on love, completely, love is going to be manifested right there in front of you.
Oh, I believe
If
that. I
you focus
absolutely
on
believe
certain
that.
depths and so, well, that is going to be your constant experience.
Yes.
You
Well, I,
will
I,
find
I
it.
love how the universe uh, orchestrated everything. I mean, because Marion, you're from Czechoslovakia originally,
Mm-hmm.
and
With a
Gabriele,
stop, with
you
a stop in Germany.
With a
with a
step.
stop in Germany, right?
17-year-old,
And
17 year stop in Germany.
17 years, and then Gabriela, you grew up in Mexico City. I just think so. Uh, do you believe that there are chance encounters, or do you think things happen for a reason?
It's a divine orchestration. It's a symphony. I mean, it's a symphony. If you consider how all that is working together on this little blue ball of ours that we are whirling through space at thousands of miles an hour, if you consider how everything is working together in synchrony and in a very specific rhythm and at a very specific time beat, if you want.
Yeah.
Just look at the seasons. Look at how, and especially here in Chicago at this time of the year, as you know, how nature comes back to life like
Yes, oh
clockwork
my God.
and how magically it all happens. So, anyways, long story short, coming back to your question, in my opinion, it's all a divine orchestration. It's all a divine symphony, literally a symphony. And as Gabi was saying, by your ability and by your capacity that you hone as you go through life in your own way and at your own pace, you become able, you open yourself up to be tuned in and to be connected to that symphony and to that divine orchestration. And sometimes, depending upon where you are and how you feel and what you are thinking, again, you may hear some incredibly wonderful notes, and sometimes you hear misbeats or arrhythmical tones. And that's when you need to make corrections within yourself and to tap back or to go back to harnessing the positiveness and the as Gabi was saying, the love that surrounds all of us in your own fashion and at your own pace and at your own ability to do it.
Yes.
That's my long-winded answer to a relatively simple question. So yes, synchronicity, no question in my mind.
Yeah, I love that. Well,
What about
yes.
What about me? Well, based on the idea, I'm so convinced, Greg, that happiness is a conscious decision. And it's a decision that courageous one can make. No? Because if not, it is also another possibility could be for you just to stay comfortable. No? To stay comfortable and to do whatever. But when you are so ready to follow your truth and to do it passionately and to put all the love, you need to be brave because sometimes that doesn't resonate necessarily with certain groups in society, no? Let's say just considering that. So that's a reason why I say like one has to be brave, but completely. So when you have that decision in mind, what your journey step by step, it starts taking you closer and closer and closer to your essence, to who you really are. So the closer you are, the more beautiful everything gets. So at the end, I think this encounter, well, because we have been like so brave and so convinced of what we want, then in some moment that's a reason why that brought us to this beautiful encounter. So yes,
I get
I, there are situations in life that they were meant to be or they are meant to be, but if you are able not to interfere with that through your fears and all of that, and that is part of the experience that man and me are creating together through this gong, sound with psychotherapy and life coach all combined together, is for people to learn how not to interfere with their own essence and happiness, no?
To get out of your own way.
Amplify your being.
Yes.
Yes.
to step out of your own way, but also to recognize whenever you are stepping, whenever you are pulling your own brakes,
Be aware.
whenever you are doubting your abilities and all the things that go with it, to become conscious and to become mindful and to become aware of that, and then to do whatever you need to do. And we could talk about that for a week, to counteract that and to open up the channels to be connected to the magic that surrounds all of us.
To life.
Yeah.
To life.
To life. So,
Serve nature.
so what are some of the challenges, or what were some of the challenges in actually learning how to be a gong or sound master? I'm curious about that. And I'm also curious about what actually you experience on that end, because it's so, you're facilitating it, you're experiencing on a different level. So what are some of the challenges to making that effective? I would imagine that there's a certain art of letting go and letting what needs to come through move through you. Is it something like that? Or I'm curious what that process like.
Do you?
Well, I would say like a challenge would be for us just to have the ability to connect with people. No, so to reach people and then to explain them what is exactly this all about. And once there is like that connection and understanding, the rest is just to flow now. But yes, man and me are constantly like figuring out ways to reach people because and I would not say it is a challenge. It is just our opportunity, let's say, to refine that process. Because at the end, what we really want to do is to share it, because it is so powerful. And there is so much to do in this incredible planet with complex societies, and we listen what is happening, no? And it is all about to turn on your device or your computer and you're exposed to all the news in the world and what is going on, there is a lot of fear, there
Right.
is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of confusion and disconnection. So it is like, there's so much to do. And thanks the heavens, we're just like one of the many that want to do so much. So it is always beautiful, for example, to read different authors, to connect with other people that are talking about the same things, wanting to do exactly the same as we are wanting to do. And each one of us has like a different approach. So I would say the challenge or the opportunity is to figure out how to reach more and more people and groups.
for them to experience it. Yes, and from my point of view, challenge. I would not use the word challenge like you were saying. I would more say it's an opportunity. Is to um, see, to me, it all rides, or to both of us. I'm not just speaking for myself. To both of us, it all rides on the intention. What intention do you, as the facilitator, as well as the recipient, bring to the setting? What do you want to get out of it? And what do you, as the facilitator, want to share?
That's powerful. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the group energy, or it's the amalgamation that comes together there that creates then the energy that creates the group experience. And hopefully people will be able then to take that and to share it with whoever they come in contact with. And one of the things that you are doing, thankfully, with us here
Yes, this is
today,
wonderful.
thank you for the invite, is to, again, share it. Because it's, again, the intention drives it, and then the individual style that we bring to the setting is the other element, because there is a million ways to play a gong.
Yes.
There's a million ways to play a singing bowl. There's a million ways to facilitate what we are facilitating
Yes.
in the setting that we create. So it's all about the opportunity. And to come back to the challenge, I would say if there is a challenge, then to me personally, it would be just a very welcome one, namely to continue to refine the process that we are facilitating and that we are involved in, which essentially is life. So,
Exploring.
exactly, continue to explore the evolutionary process of kind of peeling the onion and essentially getting somewhere closer to, like Gabi was saying, to the core.
The core. Yeah.
The
Our
core.
true power, our true nature, our true livelihood.
Exactly.
Yeah, Gabriela, you are a transformational life coach. So I'm curious, we are full of so much potential and life and expression. Um, what do you see in the work that you do that has been a recurring hiccup for people? Is it self-doubt? Is it worry? Or is it the fact that we may not realize how amazingly gifted and how full of potential we actually are?
I think that the core thing, or the constant thing that I observe is that most of the people kept or keep painful memories. And those painful memories or tragedies or situations that once we were able or we were exposed to or we live are the ones that we continue repeating once and again and again and again because you were not able to let that go or to heal that. Mm-hmm. So because that is a very present kind of wound in your soul, in your body, in your mind, in your unconscious, that is going to continue manifesting in your life until the time that you're able to see it, to identify it, and to transform it, to heal it, to let it go. So it's all about that. When I see people coming to the session, the one-on-one session, it's like seeing little kids that have been wounded in some moment, somehow. So it's like, let's figure out together and let's heal that part and because once that is done, Greg, then people can flow. So there is not like a painful interference because what that wound bring to your experience about life is fear. So because you're fearful, then you are aggressive, and then you are like kind of blocked because you want to protect yourself. So that is, but I think like the core element or the deepest problem in individuals or in the life of these individuals is fear, because once they were wounded. So it's just about healing that, to reconnect with love and trust. And by doing that, then you can flow. And what I like so much of what I'm able to provide in those sessions is that they are so well proven tools, Greg. It is not like me inventing. So there are like steps, very easy to understand and to follow. You can integrate those dynamics and apply them. And it's about the individual to continue applying those tools in your personal life, with your family, with your job, in general in your life, and to learn how to balance yourself, understanding that we have four basic aspects. So the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual. And each of those four aspects needs to be nourished every day for you to be in balance. Because if not, if you don't pay, let's say you can pay attention easily to your physical aspect, because if you don't eat, you're going to be starving and then you're going to faint. So that is easy to realize that you need to nourish that part. But we are not so aware that the same need is with your spiritual aspect and your intellectual and your emotional aspect. So sometimes we just like forget those, no, and then we are like lacking of something, and we experience like some emptiness, something is going on, and then we start having these codependent kind of relationships, wanting to hear once and again that you are so loved and you need that so much, but kind of compulsively. Or you start buying and buying and buying, or you start like
Or
drinking and
eating.
drinking and drinking, or smoking and smoking. So it's
The
something that,
addictions, yes.
yes,
Yes, of
exactly,
course.
you're doing because you feel some emptiness, but you don't understand that this is like you need like a different way to really nourish that part and to feel like you are in balance, that everything is fine, that you can trust. So yes, that is more or less the experience with the life coaching tools, with the psychotherapy dynamics, and then with the sound, it's just like perfect.
And I believe, if I may add to that, I believe another big component that goes into this is our own experience.
Yes.
Like Gabi was alluding to a little earlier, she has had her set of challenges in life. I have had my set of challenges in life.
Yes.
But there is the overriding desire, and that's another very, very crucial element in all of what we are talking about.
Yes.
There's the overriding desire wanting to create a change,
Yes.
wanting to get past or get beyond the limiting situations that you might find yourself in, whether it's because of circumstances, because of people, because of personal afflictions, addictions, whatever it may be. You desire wanting to surpass that and again peel yet another layer of the onion and get closer to the core to figure out what makes you tick and what doesn't make you tick.
Yes,
Right.
because at the end, our complete life, the manifestation of our life, is just like the reflection of what we have inside, deep inside. So
Right.
if you focus in what you are and what you really, what is installed here and everywhere, but within, then the manifestation is going to be like completely other.
Yes,
You will create a different story about your life.
yes. Difference exactly because you are the artist, you are the creator of your reality. You are.
Exactly, exactly. Marion, I love how you say, I think it's on the website too, that you're committed to live life on life's terms rather than your own. I think that was a big turning point for you at some point, and I I would love for you to share more about that because I can relate to that. I
Well,
can appreciate that statement.
Yes. It was all part of me realizing that when I was losing myself, literally losing myself in addiction, in particular through alcohol, in my case, because of my European upbringing, because of A number of reasons that we don't have to get into right now. But when I realized that I needed to make a change, um, gradually, as I became involved in the process of recovery, I realized that I have to live life on life's terms and not on my terms. I'm not at the center of the universe, and
Right.
I have to realize and learn again how to become part of this magnificent orchestration, and to contribute and to share all the wonderful things that I am fortunate enough to acquire throughout my journey. Another big, if I may, another big pivotal point was when I truly understood the phrase of, and it's an ongoing process, don't get me wrong. At times, I am better able to comprehend it. At times, I need to go back to the drawing board. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's
Yes.
a core element of my personal process, and it sounds very simple, but it's immensely profound.
Yes, and
Yes.
I said if I don't transform myself, I will not be able to see outside the transformation.
Yes.
No?
Right. It starts, and we hear it a lot. It starts from within, but and that's what's so fascinating about the journey. And we're not often given a little rule book when we're coming into this beautiful life, a little playbook that says, "Oh,
No,
here, follow this route." We
no,
grow and evolve.
no
Exactly.
It's
instructions.
fascinating. Yeah, and we can look at that, you know, like I don't see it as uh, a horrendous limitation or anything like that. I see it such a, like you were mentioning earlier, such an opportunity to tap into your own strength, to tap into your own vital nature, and bring it forth into the world through the work that you do, the work that we all do. So I find that such a fascinating thing. But yeah, we do trip and stumble, or sometimes need to really reassess to make those bigger changes. Um, I have a few more questions for you, and before we part, and I always and just it is a pleasure to connect with you. You vibrate both off the screen, and Gabriella, I'd love to hear you speak like 24 hours nonstop. It's such a hypnotic, beautiful uh, vocal audio. It's beautiful. So I'm grateful for your voice and the
Oh,
work you do. We both do. Um,
May I share something real quick on that?
yes, please.
Um, when we were in Memphis at this workshop that we talked about a little earlier, we part of the assignment was for us to, at the end of the week, to put on a little play with the individual groups that we each were part of.
Fun.
And we managed to be part of the same group for a number of different reasons. But as we were rehearsing, we were on stage in a little auditorium. They had audio equipment there which amplified the voice. And when I heard Gabriela for the first time being amplified, she was next to me, and when she shared what she shared, I will never forget, I looked down and I thought out loud in my head, what is that? That is incredible. So
Yes.
the voice element is wonderful.
and Greg, thank you so much. But this happened like much more when I am like in this like deep meditative state. So, for example, during the meditations before the gongs, so that is complete like in this state. So everything that comes really, really from very deep, and probably that is like a difference, no?
Yes.
And the voice is just a manifestation of that. But
Right.
it's to reach this like peaceful a part of your something like that.
Yeah. It's
It's
the
wonderful.
expression. Uh, well, one last question for you both. I'd always love to ask people this. What's some of the best advice you've been given about life or thriving in life?
Thriving.
Thriving. Um, growing.
Yes. Okay. I am practicing my English. This is just a word. Yes, I have had like different teachers in my life, and I believe that yes, like I would say, just always to feel, but not just to feel your emotions, but to experience your complete being, and then when you're able to do that, just to stay in that, like aligned to that, because that way you flow with ease, like being part of nature, no?
Mm.
So that would be one. I remember once this one friend and teacher that I used to have, he he let me know just by asking a question. So what is it? Because I remember in those times, Greg, I was doing like so much, no? So I was having two TV programs, and I was having a third one, and then was having that project, and all was so interesting. And it was the same cost, no? And I was so committed to that. And then my children, because always like raising up my Emilio and Sophie, my two kids. Now we are a big family. Now we have three together, and that is so beautiful. But in that moment, it was like, oh my God. And he asked me, what else do you think you need to do to be loved, let's say, by your father? And I was like, oh, what was that? So just to realize in life that where is it coming from? What you are doing, where is it coming from? What is your need? Why are you doing what you are doing? And then
Yes,
being
right.
very honest and aware, answering that question, you realize that you can do a lot of things, yes, but you don't have to do everything. And understanding what happened. So that was kind of a little process to heal a little wound that I have there from my childhood or something,
Right.
to get to this deep understanding. So then answering, just listening, not answering, just by listening that to that question, it made me see so clear. Oh yes. So to me, that has been like a very deep lesson, just to be able to connect with love, and then from there, boom, to manifest whatever you can manifest. No.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
I
And
would
how about
say,
you?
yeah, I would say for me, and I've had a little bit more time to think about it as Gabi was speaking, but to me, it would come down to realizing, and that's a process, to realize that evolution, your personal evolution, happens moment by moment, and that life in and of itself happens in the moment. And it's one eternal moment when you string it all together. But in today's day and age, because of a myriad of reasons and because of a myriad of historical circumstances that we all experience in different layers of our being,
Plus devices.
plus all the devices and all the distractors and all the stuff, it is very, 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 very easy to lose sight of that. But life happens in the moment, and none of us knows when the curtain for either one of us is going to fall. It can be at any given time.
Yeah.
So, gratitude, love, like you were saying, consciousness, awareness, desire, wanting to continue to evolve, and many other elements.
Yes, every moment receive that precious gift.
Yes,
that life is.
exactly.
Not a constant
Evolution.
miracle.
I mean, literally evolution on a personal level, and that's why we chose to call Della Mora transformational experiences. And part of that, if I may, real quick, aside from it being Gabi's last name, Della Mora also represents the mulberry in Spanish. It's a berry. So it starts with the seed and it grows, it evolves into a beautiful, nourishing fruit.
And it also means
Yes.
from the love to, or from the
Del
love toward.
amor. Yes.
Del amor a.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And we can find more about your work at delamora.com, correct?
Delamora.life.
.life, okay. And, you know, Marian and Gabriela, thank you so much for being on today's program of Mystics in a Chat Room and for sharing so much of your heart and your experiences here. And thank you for the work that you do in the world. And here we go. Let's venture forth. And here's to all the beautiful sounds we'll take in coming up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you.